welcome to Family Gamer TV. We're at the Xbox Showcase event, and I'm with Alex and your studio head of the Heart Machine.
Heart Machine.
Or head of the Heart Machine, as you were just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is your game.
Yep.
We're in the, is it Idea Xbox Lounge?
Yep.
So can you talk us through what we're seeing on screen? Because it's a beautiful...
You're seeing me dying.
Yeah. So you're dead there?
Yeah. This is Hyperlight Drifter. It's action RPG. This mode right here is a really simple survival mode, so it's just swarms of monsters coming at you for the purposes of a straightforward demo that people can play through. There's a story mode and all that, but we're just showing this for now.
So you're controlling this character with a cloak?
Guy in the red cloak.
There's a guy, is it?
Yeah.
And the symbols that are popping up above you, what do they signify?
The what?
So the symbols, the boxes that are popping up above you.
Oh yeah.
What do they signify?
So you have an inventory, and you have a couple of secondary items. So you have, like, I'll show you right now. Right now he has this jar of explosive flame, and then he has this throwable spear, and you can equip a railgun. And that'll...
Wow, that's quite powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful, but it takes a while to power up.
And so in this mode of the game, what are you trying to do?
In this part of the game, you're just trying to survive. So this is strictly a survival mode, boss or enemy rush mode, horde mode, whatever you want to call it.
So it reminds me of Lamatron.
Yeah. It's a bit Robotron, Lamatron.
Yeah.
It's just enemies coming after you. It's a good way to demo the game, combat, the stuff that's fun, without getting into the story stuff.
So this is part of the sort of ID at Xbox development stream. How does that work?
How does it work as part of that?
Yeah.
Well, I had a Kickstarter that I launched last year, and I ended up talking to Chris Charla about the game after we had a successful funding round, and he's like, "Hey, come get on Xbox at ID," and I said, "All right, sounds good."
So had you had a similar conversation with Sony? Or?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So we're also going to be on PS4 and Vita, but the more the merrier, and Xbox has been great. So.
And so does that come with sort of support and publicity, that sort of stuff?
I'm sorry?
So being on Xbox at ID, what's in it for you as a developer? There's sort of support and publicity?
Yeah, there's support, there's publicity. I mean, I'm at this event right now, and ultimately, I get to be on another big platform. Uh-huh. You know, I can't ignore a huge platform like this if I want to put it on as many things as possible.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, Microsoft has a massive market share, so of course people are going to pay attention to that, and I like the Xbox.
So do you want to talk a bit more about the game as a whole? So this is a particular mode that you're demoing today, but what is... So the game is called Drifter, is that right?
Hyperlight Drifter. Hyperlight Drifter.
Hyperlight Drifter. And so, I mean, what's the premise of the game? What's the sort of setup?
Premise of the game is you play this character. He's a drifter. He's a collector of lost technology, and he's trying to find a cure for his disease. You're fighting through a bunch of enemies in a savage, decrepit, dying world.
And so the game's got this sort of retro, pixelated art style. Obviously, that's an intentional thing.
Yeah. I like pixel art.
Yeah.
I like the limited canvas. It allows you to do things that, you know, to focus on things that are important and find as many tricks to work with the tiny amount of pixels that you have to express things, which is always a super interesting problem to me. So.
And so the game studio is called the Heart Machine. What was it?
Heart Machine.
The Heart Machine. Yeah.
No, just Heart Machine.
Sorry, no that.
No
Heart Machine.
Yeah.
And how do you work as a studio? Are you spread around? Do you have an office?
The four of us are in Los Angeles, and we go to a collective called Glitch City that we started up last year, and it's a bunch of independent developers that just wanted a space to work out of, and so we all work there.
And so you're full-time on the game?
Yeah. I'm the creative lead. I'm the creator of the game, so I'm more than full-time on it.
So the sort of the financial model of that depends on you getting to the point of selling the game and making enough from the sales to then fund the next title, I guess.
Yeah, ultimately. You know, we had a successful Kickstarter, but whenever this goes on sale, in order to do more games, of course we're gonna need it to sell.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you see that Kickstarter is a good way to sort of, you know, get things started, obviously as the name suggests,
right.
But then you need to move on to a more traditional sort of business model as things progress?
I think it can be useful in a lot of different situations, but if you have a successful first game, you should be able to move on from there and fund your next game with those. Because Kickstarter is difficult. Kickstarter isn't something you want to go back to over and over and over again. I think it's something you want to launch with for certain companies, for certain games, for certain projects. But ultimately, you want to be able to be self-sustaining.
So could you talk a bit about maybe what inspired you for this particular sort of art style and to create this sort of game? Are there other games that you'd reference?
Yeah, a lot of classic Super Nintendo games, Link to the Past, a lot of Squaresoft games like Secret of Mana. They had great pixel art back in the day, and you know, you see it more and more with indie games because it's a little bit less intensive to work on a smaller canvas like this rather than HD or anything crazy like that if you have a very small team. But you can also still do amazing things with it, and I don't know, Secret of Mana was a huge inspiration for me as a kid, and Link to the Past is still beautiful. It's still one of the most beautiful games because of its style.
And what did you make of A Link Between Worlds in terms of a way of updating that sort of style of game for Nintendo?
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. I think they did a lot of smart things, and they still kept it familiar without making it boring or trite. Graphically, I wasn't as into it because, again, it's doing it on a smaller screen and it's 3D and it doesn't look quite as good as the old Link to the Past. But it plays really well, and they updated a lot of great. They modernized Link to the Past, which is great. Good stuff.
Yeah,
can't complain about that.
Yeah, you still have the sort of the dual world angle going on.
Yeah, it's nice to see them tackle that in a respectful way.
So you're saying that this will be out on the Vita as well?
Yep.
Is there a challenge in translating this to a smaller screen, like you were saying?
No. The challenge is translating this to a less powerful system. Because the Vita, while it has a great GPU, and you can run a lot of good stuff on it, the CPU is not as great, and we have a lot of, while this looks like a basic game, we have a lot of stuff going on in it with a lot of enemies, a lot of effects, particles and stuff like that. And so it becomes very CPU intensive. So we had to do a lot of optimization to get it running on Vita. So it's not an easy platform to put this kind of a game on, ultimately. It takes some work, but it's great. It's worth it because I really enjoy it. I love my Vita. I play it more than anything else. So.
And what do you play on Vita at the moment?
Right now, I'm still playing a lot of Spelunky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Spelunky's still great.
So you haven't mentioned the Nintendo platforms, apart from referencing back to the ones you love in the past.
We'll be on Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah.
3DS?
No, not 3DS. We would like to, maybe in the future, but that's a whole different platform, and it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of time, takes money to put anything on a different platform. Yeah. So 3DS would be nice, ultimately. I love that system too, but it's a whole different machine than anything else. So.
Cool, that's really interesting. So, if viewers want to sort of check in with your progress, how should they do that?
If you want to check in on my progress, we have a blog, devlog. If you go to heart-machine.com, heart-machine.com, you can see the link on the top of our page for the devlog.
And on Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at HeartMachineZ. Facebook, we have a Facebook page. You can search Facebook for Hyperlight Drifter. Facebook.com/Hyperlight Drifter, I think, is the URL. Yeah.
Great, well, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing more of the game as it progresses. Excellent.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.